Okay, so let's draw an atom's Lewis dot structure. The exercise says to draw the Lewis dot structure for carbon, hydrogen, bromine, and oxygen. So first with carbon, in the bottom right you have different forms of carbon depending on how you smush it together. Carbon is either coal, which is the black, or diamond, which is the right. So coal and diamond are really the same thing, carbon, just smushed together differently, and actually diamond is the less stable form and spontaneously turns into coal over long periods of time. So to draw the Lewis dot structure, the first thing you want to do is draw the symbol. For carbon, that is C. Now you want to think of that as having 4 different sides, and each side is being able to hold 2 electrons. Right? What we're trying to visualize here is the outermost layer, the outermost shell of electrons in an atom. Electrons wrap around a nucleus like in layers, like in an onion. And so really the only one that's important for chemistry is that outermost shell, because that's the one that knocks into other atoms and forms bonds. So these Lewis dot structures are trying to give you information about what type of bonds different atoms can form. So you want to think of that outermost shell as having those 4 different sides, each side being able to hold 2 electrons for a total of 8 electrons. Now you fill those in 1 electron at a time. These dots are going to be electrons. So that's 1 electron. Once you have 1 electron on one side, you put an electron on another side, then the 3rd side, the 4th side, and only after you have 1 electron on each would you start pairing them, depending on how many electrons you have. Okay, so how many electrons does carbon have? Well, you get the number of valence electrons, outermost electrons, from the column that it's in, the group A number. Here you can see that carbon is in column or group 4A. That means that it has 4 valence electrons. So we're going to fit 4 dots around that carbon symbol. So here's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and that is the Lewis dot structure for carbon. All right, let's try to do the same thing for hydrogen. In the bottom right, you have a picture of gas clouds in outer space, which are almost entirely made up of hydrogen. Hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe because it's the simplest. It only has 1 proton with 1 electron flying around it. Most stars are made up of hydrogen too. So hydrogen is in group or column 1A. That means that there's going to be 1 valence electron around it. So first we draw the symbol, and we draw that 1 electron, and we are done. That is the Lewis dot structure for hydrogen. For bromine, well, bromine is in column 7A. 7A, that means bromine has 7 electrons around it. So we'll draw that symbol, Br, and then put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 electrons, and that is the Lewis dot structure for bromine. Finally, we have oxygen, and in those pictures you have, those are pictures of liquid oxygen. Notice in the top right, those metal things are magnets. Notice that the oxygen is magnetic. It sticks to the magnets. So oxygen is in column 6A. That means it has 6 valence electrons, so we're going to put 6 dots around the symbol. So the symbol for oxygen is O, and then you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 dots, and that is the Lewis dot structure for oxygen.